false presupposition. You are presupposing that you know the story of Jesus. You're presupposing that what the New Testament says about Jesus is reliable. I'm not ignoring your question. Your question contains a false presupposition. I don't accept the premise of your question. You have to verify the premise of your question. So that's why in response, I asked you if the Book of Mormon was to have a prophecy of the future. And then I come centuries later as an anonymous author, for the sake of argument, like you accepted, and write stories perfectly in line with what the Book of Mormon says. Would that make my book and the Book of Mormon both reliable and accurate? Answer that question, Avery, because that question is built because your question has a false presupposition. You can't, what do you call it? You can't ask questions built upon false presuppositions. Okay? I'll answer your question about the crucifixion later. Answer that question very simply. If the Book of Mormon, okay, guys, for all the people calling me slow and I'm not answering, I directly dealt with his question. His question contains a false presupposition. So Avery, answer the question. If the Book of Mormon prophesizes the future and I come centuries later writing a story perfectly aligned with what the Book of Mormon says as an anonymous author, would that make my book and the Book of Mormon reliable? Please answer.
Okay. So GodLogic is going to have time to answer. If anybody interrupts him, I'm going to drop them. I don't know.
Appreciate it, brother. So Rumsey's doing a good job of trying to run away and avoid the actual question, ladies and gentlemen, but it's okay. Rumsey, a prophecy that comes true is rooted in the historicity and the facts thereof, that it came true, that it came to pass. So when you're saying if somebody in the Book of Mormon predicts something and then someone comes later and writes copies the story down as if it happened, does that make it true? If it's not based in history, no, it does not. This is why I asked you, Rumsey, and here's your chance to answer this question. Do the majority of historians agree that Jesus was crucified under Pontius Pilate in the first century? Yes or no?
Okay, I'll answer that. The answer is no. We don't even have any evidence for the existence of Jesus historically. For example, there was this guy named, I forgot how to say his name, but it's Tacitus. He doesn't give the sources of his information. He doesn't give us anything. There was also some what do you call it? Some problems.
Does he want me to answer? Wait, Avery, are you done speaking?
Yeah, I wanted you to answer that question, please.
No, but are you done speaking? Am I it's time to speak now, or are you going to continue?
Well, I'm going to continue based off your answer.
We have to finish though. Finish, and then I'll speak.
Yeah, that's my question, so that I can build my point.
All right, so Ramsey, you good?
It's not a one-word answer. I'm going to speak for a minute. I mean, if you.
Well, I mean, go if you want to.
Yeah,
I'm fine. Just elaborate.
Majority of historians who base their conclusions off continuities and base their conclusions based upon the only sources we have available, which are Christian sources, right? They quote the New Testament. However, here's a couple points. One, majority of historians who are secular base their conclusions based upon a couple things. First of all, continuities. Based upon the continuity that Romans crucified lots of people, and that we have sources that tell us a man named Jesus was crucified. Sure, yes, majority of secular historians believe that a man was crucified. The problem is, Avery, that's not what the book of Isaiah is prophesizing, supposedly. Not just some Tom, Dick, and Harry named Jesus was crucified. It's that supposedly the Lamb of God was crucified for the sins of the world. Yeah? Atheists believe Christ was crucified. Jews believe Christ was crucified. That's fine. The question of whether a guy was crucified is not what you're proving here. The prophecy is not just that some guy was crucified. It was that the Lamb of God, right? He was cut off supposedly. What does the prophecy supposedly say? It was what do you call it? He was killed for the sins of many. I forget the exact words of the prophecy, but nonetheless, basically, according to you, it teaches that he died for the sins of the world. He was cut off from the land of the living for the sins of the world. Yeah, that's the prophecy. It's not that just some guy in the future is going to die. Otherwise, we can claim anyone crucified fulfills that prophecy. So, Avery, let me ask that question. Let me ask that question to you. Does anyone being crucified fulfill that prophecy?
It's specific to Jesus, and you helped me out.
Good,
You actually helped me out, Rumsey. Wait,
Rumsey.
Ramsey. You
Good.
notice.
Avery, that's good.
Notice.
That's good.
Wait, Ramsey, slow down, dude. Notice
Okay,
how
I wasn't finished. I wasn't finished.
But neither was I. But you took a minute to talk. You took a turn.
You gave me that minute to talk.
No, but hold on. No, how is this going to go, Rumsey? I asked you a question so that I can build my point. You said no. I need to answer fully. I'm going to talk for a minute. So you just asked. So you did that.
Yo, Zeno, please. Yeah, hold on.
I don't know. I wasn't
right. So it's okay. So you did that. So you just asked me a question. You talked. You gave your turn. You talked, and then you just asked me a question. So now I'm going to take my turn.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
I appreciate it. So you don't even realize how you just helped me. You just admitted that according to historians, Jesus was crucified under Pontius Pilate. And according to Isaiah, it talks about the crucifixion of Jesus. It isn't just that the New Testament authors are matching a story that they find in the Old Testament. They're recording history. Now, let me ask, let's put it into this perspective, So one, you admitted that historians agree that Jesus was crucified under Pontius Pilate. Now, here's my question to you. What is the primary source? What is the primary source that they use to come to the conclusion that Jesus was crucified under Pontius Pilate? What's the primary source, Rumsey?
Okay. So, Avery, you seem to not know how history works. History is built on a scale of probability. Historians will not claim, excuse me, let me speak. Historians cannot claim with certainty anything in history. The only thing they could claim is that Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, they would claim probably existed and was probably crucified, because that's what the sources we have tell us. But here's the problem, Avery. Do historians take the New Testament as a historically reliable source of information? For example, Avery, answer this question. Do historians consider the resurrection to be a historical event? Answer that question.
I'll answer after this, Rumsey. You skipped my question. I'm going to answer after.
No.
You skipped my question, Rumsey. I asked you.
I would just like to put it out.
I did answer. I did.
I would just like to put it out there.
Exactly.
I would just like to put it out there. We have no historical evidence for the existence of Jesus. That is a well-known fact. Anybody who does their, worth of research would know that there isn't really any strong evidence. There's the existence of Christians. However, there's not the founder, which is Jesus Christ.
You said that I didn't answer. His question was, what source of historians? Be quiet.
No. It's not about me being quiet. It's my turn.
I'm repeating your question.
No, I'll give my question.
Be quiet.
I'll give my question. It's my turn. You finished.
His question was, be quiet.
Rumsey, stop, bro.
I'm repeating your question, for God's sake. Stop. What do you call it? Stop manifesting.
I don't need you to repeat my question. It's my turn to speak.
I'm going to repeat an answer. Calm down.
It's my turn to speak, please. If I can,
you just like the sound of your voice. You just like the sound of your voice.
I think that's projection. It doesn't work here. That's projection. It doesn't work here.
The question was,
that's projection. It doesn't work.
What is the primary source? Be quiet. What was the primary source of the life of Jesus Christ?
Host, he had his turn to speak. It's my turn to speak now.
I'm literally repeating your question to answer it. What are you talking about?
So it's my turn to speak now. Thank you.
I want an answer. You don't want an answer?
I want an answer after I get a chance. My turn. Thank you.
You're just going to repeat the question. Okay, go ahead.
Host, what's going on, bro? What are you doing?
Stuff for a lot. Look,
the question was.
Dude, stop being so hyper. You shouldn't.
Logic, can you relax?
No. It's not. It's not logic. Relax. Tell Rumsey to relax because he just spoke.
Wait, why are you so? Wait, just relax.
It's my turn.
The question was. Okay, guys, does anyone want to answer those
questions?
Why
am I being muted, host?
Host, what is going on, man?
I muted everyone. Hold on, everyone, please stop, please. Okay. Please, for the love of Allah, we're gonna have a conversation.
Why are you not telling them to be quiet as I answer his question?
Look, okay. I'm trying to be fair. I'm trying to,
You're not being fair, I think. Okay. Well.
I'm trying. All right.
You're being fair. When you let me speak, they don't think you're being fair. That's their problem.
As I'm answering your question, I'm not being fair.
Listen, look, this is what we're gonna do, host. If he doesn't answer the question,
we're gonna allow the host to.
We're gonna pack your ass up if you don't answer.
Well, no, why are you even up here? Why are you even up here to cheerlead?
This isn't your live.
Answer the question. No,
I could have been done, Akhi.
No, it's my turn.
Very simple. Very simple. Okay,
It's my turn to speak. Why is he getting my turn to speak?
To answer. Manifest. Keep manifesting. Keep manifesting. No problem.
Host,
Okay.
it's my turn to speak.
I'm trying to answer your question you asked. What is wrong with
you?
you?
Decide? Can we just listen to the host, please?
Okay. Dawah, go. Then I'll give you a minute each.
This is wild. He's getting another minute. This is wild.
You wanted me to answer your question. What the hell?
This is crazy.
This is crazy. I know it's crazy. You're gonna get an answer to your question. His question earlier was, what do scholars use? What do historians use to say Jesus was crucified? I mentioned
my question was the primary source.
Well, that's what I just. Oh, for God's sake. Okay.
Just said the New Testament, bro. Stop talking logic. Stop manifesting.
They're beautiful. I said, the question was, what do historians use primarily to say Jesus was crucified? Did I not mention the New Testament? Is this guy deaf? I swear, this guy loves the sound of his own voice.
Thank you. That's enough then.
I mentioned they
quote. Thank you. That's enough then. You gave the answer. You already answered. You said you were just answering.
Let me finish.
You said you were just answering. You're done. You're done.
Tell me quiet.
You answered the question.
Tell me quiet. Okay. The problem is, Avery.
You just said now you're getting another turn.
Historians
now he's getting another turn.
Let me finish. The problem is, Avery, they don't do historians consider this. Let me finish. Let me finish, Avery. Let me finish. Stop. Let me finish. Be quiet. Be quiet. The problem is,
you said you answered my question, then you're going to shut up. So now it's my turn. It's my turn now.
Let me finish my answer.
You answered my question. It's over.
Let me finish my answer. Let me finish my answer. The problem is, Avery, and this is something you know that I know you know, but you don't care. Historians don't consider the New Testament to be a reliable source of information. They quote it, and they quote various Christian beliefs that were prevalent in the first century as continuities, as a part of the historical method, but they don't take the New Testament itself as a reliable source of information. Historians don't consider the resurrection or miracles, or they don't consider the New Testament to be a reliable source of information. So appealing to the New Testament as the quote-unquote primary source of information, just because the Old Testament mentions a crucified person, doesn't then verify everything in the New Testament. You have to verify the authenticity and reliability of the New Testament, which I know you can't, Avery, which you're embarrassed by. And yes, Christian scholarship openly admits that the New Testament is not a perfect source of information. It is an anonymous. They are 4 anonymous documents. You know that, Avery. Stop hiding. You know that.
Okay. Now Avery's gonna get to speak. Please don't interrupt him. If anybody interrupts him, I'm dropping it. I had enough. I tried to be nice. Please.
But be consistent with
Thank you, host. So notice here, and he got 2 chances to speak. He said he was going to answer my question, and that would be it. But he took that opportunity and manipulated the situation to go ahead and filibuster some more and put himself in a deeper hole. Rumsey, you're an embarrassment. You look. Can you mute up, please?
Yo.
This is crazy. Like, I seriously, the panic is insane, dude. Relax. Rumsey, you literally just gave me the discussion. First, you admitted that according to historians, they agree that Jesus was crucified. Then you just admitted out of your own mouth, out of your fast-speaking mouth, that the primary source that they used to come to this conclusion is the New Testament. Notice how he's interrupting me again. He can't help himself. He can't help himself. So these are 2 things, guys. He admitted that Jesus was crucified according to historians. And he also agreed that the primary source that they use to conclude that Jesus was crucified is the New Testament. While in the same breath, he then said that they don't take the New Testament as a reliable source of information. Are you dense? How do you contradict yourself in the same breath like that? Dude, thank you for this discussion. I appreciate you giving me this every single time we talk. So which is it? Do the historians use the New Testament as the primary source, or do they not? But you said that they do. So is it reliable for them, or is it not? How are they using a source that they say is unreliable to conclude that it as their primary source, the fact that Jesus was crucified by Pontius Pilate in the 1st century? You're contradicting yourself all over the place, man. You're a rookie at this. Here's another thing too. Hold on, this is getting gifts, so it's a little loud. Here's another thing too, Rumsey, that you're failing to deal with and you're failing to acknowledge. So now that we've concluded Your mods muted me. It's crazy, isn't it? How they do. You're probably gonna have to unmute or unmod the ones who keep muting me, host. Honestly, it's probably gonna keep going like this. But this is how it is. So Rumsey, not only that do you have to deal with it. So with your admissions, you just admitted that the crucifixion of Jesus is a historical fact, and it is historically reliable by virtue of the New Testament, according to scholars. Now, again, if you're trying to go into the problem of the resurrection, that is that's a miraculous event. Now, they don't have an explanation. We can argue for the resurrection all day long, but that's not the subject here. We can do that next. But the subject here is the historicity of the New Testament and the events of Jesus that the historians, as you admitted, uses the primary source to say that Jesus was crucified, which then supplements the point that Isaiah 53 is a true prophecy of a historical event that even you admitted is historical by the scholars' admission. Thank you.
Okay, can I speak now? Okay, there's a couple of false equivocations Avery's making here. Number one, if historians utilize a source to verify one event, that doesn't then therefore mean they conclude the New Testament is reliable. That's why I asked the question, Avery, you can ask this question when I'm done. Do historians consider the resurrection to be a historical event? The same source you think that, first of all, I never said that historians take it as reliable. They don't. You can consider historical sources without deeming them perfectly reliable and authentic. It's very simple, guys. Do historians consider the resurrection a historical event? Everyone answer in the audience. Do historians consider the resurrection to be a historical event? No, they don't. The same New Testament teaches that, but they reject that. So no, they don't consider the New Testament a reliable source of information, Avery. You don't know how the historical method works. Historians base their beliefs on continuities. What they do is they look at overall what people were saying at the time, what people were believing, and so they come to reasonable conclusions. Well, okay, yeah, what it seemed like everyone around believed he was crucified. So yeah, it's a pretty reasonable thing to conclude he was crucified. And guess what? This doesn't actually contradict what the Quran says. The Quran says that people were boasting, we killed the Messiah, Jesus, the son of Mary. So this doesn't by any way, let me finish. This doesn't by any way prove your narrative, Avery. This, in fact, actually goes perfectly along with what the Quran says. The Quran says people thought he was crucified. So you showing me a bunch of Tom, Dick, and Harrys who supposedly thought he was crucified doesn't prove the entire narrative of the New Testament. Yes, they use the New Testament as evidence that people believed he was crucified, and they accept based upon continuities that yes, probably, Rome was a place, the Roman Empire was a place people got crucified. Seemed like everyone around believed Jesus, this guy named Jesus, was crucified. That doesn't then verify the New Testament as a whole as a reliable source of information. What have you been sipping on? What is wrong with you? You don't know how the historical method works. You're doing exactly what the Quran says, Avery. You follow nothing but conjecture. The Old Testament talks about a story. The New Testament, I'll grant it for the sake of argument. I'm not agreeing to this, but for the sake of argument, I'll grant it. The New Testament perfectly agrees with it. Well, you have to verify the New Testament before you use that as evidence. And your evidence for that is, well, historians say that a guy named Jesus was crucified. And because the New Testament teaches that, therefore the New Testament's reliable? What is wrong with you? What on God's green earth is wrong with you, Avery? Bro, go back to the dance floor. Honestly, you're better off there. So let me just conclude with this. Very simple, very simple. The claim you made was that the Old Testament prophesies the story of Jesus. That claim is built upon a false and baseless presupposition that the New Testament is reliable. Showing us things that historians agree with what it says doesn't prove the New Testament is reliable. Even if historians were to agree, which they do, generally they believe, some guy named Jesus was crucified. That's not what this prophecy is. Your prophecy that you're trying to prove is not that some Tom, Dick, and Harry with the name Jesus was crucified. It's that the Son of God himself, the Lamb of God, was killed for the sins, for the sins of the world. You're making so many false equivocations and false presuppositions because you need to, Avery. So I'm going to ask you the simple question, Avery, one more time. Why do you? Sorry. Okay. So let me rephrase. I'm going to ask you the simple question. Why do you believe the New Testament is a reliable source of information? Simply telling us that it matches with what the Old Testament says does not prove it is reliable. You have to prove that the authors were authentic and reliable and honest. What's the answer? Why do you believe the New Testament's reliable?
If I could say something before this, I had to first, before we even go do anything else, I had to first think, what do the Jews think of this? Because again, this was for them. This was what it was talking about. So when the question is asked, is this talking about Jesus? Is talking about just one singular person? And this is the answer from a Jewish website. The book, published by Chosen People Ministry and distributed free to thousands of Jewish homes, is part of the $1 million Popularis campaign currently in the second year. And the use of Isaiah 53.
Inshallah, just let logic answer. Jazakallah khair.
Isaiah 53, the suffering servant chapter, has been consistently misquoted by missionaries trying to claim that the prophet Isaiah is speaking of Jesus and fulfills the prophecies that he would suffer for our sins.
Because I'm granting him for the sake of argument, so it doesn't really. It's kind of like
Hold on. There's no granting an argument. We need to have just like a conversation. So often,
What? Akhi, what are you talking about?
He's right. That's what I was clarifying earlier, that they misrepresented, and I was showing piece by piece how they misrepresent that verse.
I'm granting it for the sake of argument, even if.
Why are all these people getting a chance to speak before me? This is crazy.
Let me read, please. They often cite the fact that the servant is singular and must therefore be talking about the single individual Jesus, though a throughout analysis cannot be given in this limited space. We have explored the important points. First, one must read the entire book of Isaiah in context.
Host, akhi, Jazakallah khair.
Let him read, man. Let him just read.
Answer.
Let me just read this, because we need to see, what do the Jews see about this? First, one must read the entire book of Isaiah from an accurate Jewish translation. It was written by Isaiah, who was a prophet from 619 to 533 BCE. In the original text, there was no chapter and breaks. The book is written in a fluid format and therefore must read as a whole. Then in doing so, you will note that this chapter, which is known as the 47th Psalm, actually begins in chapter 53, verse 13. When reading Isaiah and 5 texts, God often calls Israel and Jacob.
Also, for the conversation, he needs to speak. He needs to respond.
His servant is.
Akhi, the Jews believe he was crucified. Come on, akhi. This ain't supporting us. Jazakallah khair.
He's like, he needs to run your life a little bit better.
No, he's basically explaining Isaiah 53 is not about Jesus.
Yeah, this was this. Just these.
I think he granted that for the sake of argument. It doesn't matter. He needs to answer now. Come on. What is this? Missing time. I guarantee
your question.
He's going to forget everything I just said. He's going to forget
your question.
Sorry?
I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for finally letting me speak.
He's going to forget and ignore everything I said.
So host, just to touch on what you're saying, man, because you're trying to appeal to Jews who are trying to go against like the messianic-ship of Jesus, the messiahship of Jesus. This is who your authority is. So if you're saying that they're right, then you have to say they're right about him, I guess not being the Messiah, since you're saying that's the authority by which you're supposed to judge and interpret the scriptures. So if that's the case, then Jesus is not the Messiah. You should reject Islam.
Okay, why did you divert from my conversation? Host, I asked him a question. He's diverting from the question. I mean, I can't blame him. He spoke for a long time.
Yeah,
that's not my point here. What I was saying.
His question. Answer.
Hey, do you want me to repeat my question? I wouldn't be surprised if you forgot. I mean, you spoke for a while. So
I don't know what you said.
Host, allow me at the end to debate him on the
bro, be quiet.
I remember some things what you said.
One second. Host, I made multiple points to Avery. You made him forget all of them. I can't blame him. He spoke for a while.
I remember you mentioned the historical method. I remember you mentioned why. Your question was, why do I believe the New Testament is reliable? That's what. I built up to that, but okay, yeah. I mean, if you want to answer that, I'm gonna address what I remember. So you mentioned the historical method. You said you mentioned the historical method, and you said that historians judge things by continuity. That's not all that entails the historical method, Ramsey. So I'm gonna read some of the stuff what the historical method entails. So it entails independent and multiple attestation, which is similar with what you said. You're talking about continuity, right? So multiple attestation and independent sources. It include, which are the New Testament sources. Criterion of embarrassment, which is what you have in the New Testament, with the New Testament authors claiming that they ran and were cowards, and even went against Jesus sometimes and rejected him, dismissing him. You have.
Can you drop these? Wait, can you drop these guys? Can you wait 1 second, Ramsey? I'm trying to
There's no need. If you're gonna drop anybody, we're good. Goodness.
Okay, Abrams, what point are you trying to prove right now? Just so I know, what point are you proving?
The historical method that you mentioned. You mentioned how the historians take things by continuity. You said, I don't understand what the historical method is, so I'm giving you this, the historical method. Okay, so we have early attestation, independent sources, and multiple attestation. You have the criterion of embarrassment, which I already mentioned, how the disciples, rejected Jesus, ran from Jesus, were cowards, right? You have, so it's mentioning their embarrassment there. You also have the criterion of coherence. Now, this one says this. It says the criterion of coherence looks at the larger pattern of Christ's historical circumstances and attempts to determine whether a specific event coheres with that pattern. If an event coheres with the larger pattern, then it is more likely to be historical than not. Scholars agree that Christ's crucifixion coheres with other known facts of his life. Most obvious being that he clearly upset the Jewish authorities by claiming to be the divine Son of Man. This title was Christ's preferred self-reference, according to Dan Wallace. So,
don't drop me. Don't drop me, bro.
He's a troll, man. He's just trolling. Can you just drop the troll?
I'll be quiet. I don't know why I keep getting dropped. I'm literally quiet, bro.
Host, can you just leave it with me and Rumsey on the panel, please? Since we're the only ones
I'm on
talking.
mute, bro. I just want to stay up here with the host.
Host, why are you stressing like you got 5 kids, bro? Just run your live, dog. Come on.
Okay.
I'm not done.
I know. I'm just
Yeah.
Are you trying to? What's that sound? Where's that coming from?
Yeah, I'm addressing the things that you said, Rumsey, and I didn't interrupt you.
I know, but is this? I know, but is this to prove the New Testament's reliable?
It's actually to refute what you were saying about the historical method and showing how you just contradicted yourself yet again. So if you just let me continue, please. Okay. I appreciate it. So I'm showing you that you don't know anything about the historical method and what it entails, and how the New Testament, according to the scholars, passes the historical method with early attestation, multiple attestation, criteria of embarrassment, and criteria of coherence. And so what you have is, according to the scholars that you even said, one, that their primary source on whether or not Jesus was crucified, and how they conclude that Jesus was crucified, is the New Testament. That's what you admitted earlier. But at the same time, in the same breath, you're saying that it's not reliable. It's not a reliable source when they use it as a reliable source for the crucifixion of Jesus. That's the conundrum that you're in. And so then when you say, well, they didn't believe in the resurrection, the resurrection is a supernatural event. So this is what we have from the even the liberal scholars. They agree that the disciples of Jesus thought that they saw a resurrected Christ. They agree that there was some claim of a resurrection going on. They just don't affirm that it happened because it's supernatural now. So since it's going beyond the natural, this is something that the liberal scholars, who are naturalists mostly, who don't believe in the supernatural, who don't believe in miracles, they reject the resurrection, but with no evidence behind it, no real reason behind it. When the resurrection is the best explanatory evidence for said event. So you bringing up them not agreeing with the resurrection has no bearing on historicity, but on their bias towards the supernatural. That's why that's a red herring and has nothing to do with what we're talking about. You're cooking yourself. You yourself admitted, I'm going to keep throwing your own words in your face. You yourself admitted, one, that the historical scholars agree that Jesus was crucified. Number two, you agreed that the historical scholars use the New Testament as their primary source for the fact, not that it's a maybe, not that it might have happened. Let me just give you, because you keep saying, that maybe some guy. Let me show you how you're misrepresenting them. Here's James Dunn. He says The crucifixion is one of the two facts in the life of Jesus that command almost universal assent, and that it ranks so high on the almost impossible to doubt or to deny scale of historical facts. That's James Dunn. Here's Bart Ehrman. Bart Ehrman, the crucifixion of Jesus by the Romans is one of the most secure. Does Bart Ehrman say maybe, guys? No, he says it is a maybe. No, he says it's one of the most secure facts we have about his life. Okay? Scholar Luke Timothy Johnson agrees, saying the support for the mode of his death, its agents, and perhaps its co-agents is overwhelmingly Jesus faced a trial before his death, was condemned and executed by crucifixion. Historian Gerd Lunemann finds that Jesus' death as a consequence of crucifixion, watch this, ladies and gentlemen, is indisputable. Excuse me. Hold on. Excuse me.
I'm gonna cook this one. I'm gonna roast this. No problem.
I hope you do, because you're the one getting roasted. I'm gonna turn you over though. John Dominic Crossan says.
Wait.
Says, excuse me. Why am I being interrupted?
Look at what he said.
Why am I being interrupted?
Go ahead.
Why am I being interrupted? Seriously, host. What's going on here, man? Okay, why do you keep bringing this troll up?
Hold on. GodLogic, I was just like say you did go on for a bit of time.
That's so because they did. That's because you and Rumsey both went on for a bit of time. And you guys can speak for 4 minutes.
Checking. Bart Ehrman,
you guys can. Why am I being interrupted, host?
Fact check.
Why am I being interrupted, host?
Hold on. We do fact check over here.
Yeah, that's fine. You can fact check on your turn.
Yeah, no.
Notice these cowards are muting me, guys.
Panicking, bro.
These cowards are muting me, and these cowards are interrupting me on my turn.
Fact check time. Bart Ehrman.
So let me know what's going on, host.
You see at the bottom? Look what it says.
Look at these cowards, guys. Look at these cowards.
Historians, including
host, what is happening, host?
Okay, are you gonna fact check time, bro?
Hold on.
Can we fact check?
Host, it's why are they interrupting me on my turn to speak, man?
Oh my goodness.
It's Aki X's turn.
It's not Aki X's turn. It's my turn to speak.
I'm fact checking. You lied.
Okay, we see how this is going, guys.
Okay.
So, guys, since he's going to yield to them, it's over.
What is Bart Ehrman basing it off of?
We see how they do.
Is he basing it off of eyewitness testimony? No, he's basing it off of Tacitus. Don't lie and run. He's basing it off of Tacitus. Who is Tacitus? Was Tacitus there?
Oh my
Thank you, Iran. Let him run.
There's some very easy.
Thank you, Iran. Let him run.
There's some very easy.
So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have it as soon as they're getting roasted, as soon as they're getting chopped up, stirred up, and cooked. What they have to do is they have to troll, they have to interrupt. They speak for 5 minutes apiece. I finally get my chance to speak, and when they're in trouble, oh no, it's Aki X's turn. Oh, it's the other person's turn. My goodness, guys. Well, how much? I mean, we're never going to get used to this. We're never going to get used to, we're never going to get tired of this, is what I'm going to say. We're never going to get surprised by this. Whenever they're on the roast board, whenever they're on the grill, they have to interrupt, they have to insult, they have to mock. And it's when they're sizzling, when they're getting cooked, and it's embarrassing for them. Now, for them, for their live, it's a lot for them, about 300 people watching. It was absolutely embarrassing. This is what we have. Now, I would just finish what I was reading, though. Why not? Let's go ahead and finish what I was reading. He's talking about the historical method. John Donovan Crossan says that he takes it absolutely for granted. It's absolutely for granted that Jesus was crucified under Pontius Pilate. It's absolute. Jewish scholar Paula Fredrickson writes that the crucifixion is the single strongest fact we have about Jesus. Come on, man. The Jesus Seminar, and we know who those people are. No friends of Jesus. So this is what they say. They say, and these are a group of skeptics, by the way, guys. A group of skeptics. This is what they say. They say that the crucifixion of Jesus Christ is one indisputable fact from his ministry. So this is what happened. Rumsey admitted that historians agree that Jesus was crucified. Rumsey admitted that historians use the New Testament as their primary source that Jesus was crucified and the facts of his life. So what does this show? This shows that Isaiah 53, according to the historical method, prophesied a historical event to the T. And this is something that Muslims can't deal with. Now, if they want to say that this isn't the gospel, that this isn't the Injil, that this isn't what it was, then I just want to ask them,